Alrighty, it is Tuesday, which means a single expansion. Here we have Menagerie. Notably, not the expansion that the card Menagerie comes from. For the landscapes, we've got Delay and Way of the Horse. So any action card can be played as if it were a horse, and then you would lose it forever in place of its normal effect. What else is going on? So for draw, there's Wayfarer, Black Cat. Hunting Lodge is draw if your hand size is smaller than 5 cards when you play it. And Livery and Slay both give horses. Each horse is essentially like +1 card, just delayed. Horse is a one-shot laboratory. For villages, there's Hunting Lodge, and the first Snowy Village is a village. And then there's also Delay, which can convert. It's essentially converting plus buy into plus actions, with the downside that it's got like a delayed effect, hence the name. Like you obviously, ideally, rather play all your cards this turn, but in a pinch, you can delay until next turn. Looks like there's a good amount of plus buy here. Stockpile, Scrap, Snowy Village, eventually Animal Fair. So I could see Delay coming up. And then Trashing, Scrap can kill estates. Can technically kill coppers, but isn't very good at that. I'm not seeing any other way to trash coppers. So getting rid of the coppers probably won't be that easy. I think Scrap plus Stockpile looks like a pretty obvious opening to me. You want to trash the estates. You don't want to get then so desperately that you want double Scrap. And then Stockpiles, probably get you up to 5 or whatever number you're looking to hit if you want that. Nothing else looks amazing as an opener. I'm not as clear on where it's going after that. I think the biggest question mark is how important is Livery. Livery can be an egregious amount of draw. You play like 4 liveries, you buy 4 things, you get 16 horses, and then you're just drawing your deck trivially at that point. The problem is, how do you get to the point that you got 4 liveries in play and had enough money in buys to buy 4 things? It is really bad at bootstrapping itself up to the big turns, but it's really good at taking an engine that's kind of functional and then turning it up to 11. Here I think there's enough support probably to make Livery work if you want to. You got villages, you got trashing, you got some other amount of draw, and then you could just add a livery and use that as the main draw later on. The thing that makes that not obvious to me is just that a lot of the stuff I want, or at least that I think I want, costs less than 4, and even Wayfarer would probably cost less than 4 at the points that you're buying it. So Livery wouldn't actually activate all that often. So I think probably at least early on, the plan should be to draw by some other means, like Wayfarer maybe, and then you add liveries late in the game as you're planning to buy like provinces and duchies and they'll activate. I think that's probably more or less what this looks like. Scrap Stockpile early, use the plus buy to get cheap Wayfarers, some Hunting Lodges, add some liveries, then start greening, something like that. Alright, bot takes a scrap, makes sense. And a stockpile, yeah, I thought that was pretty automatic. I'll draw a card here and take a horse. I was expecting to hit 3. I drew the only other estate off the top. That's really not a big deal because the 2s here are okay. I think Slay looks better than Black Cat, probably. I mean, at some point in the distant future, Black Cat could be a bit of a nuisance because curses aren't that easy to trash for the same reason coppers aren't. It's also a more immediate draw, which is something to its credit. Like Slay is 2 cards at some point next shuffle when you find your horses. Black Cat is 2 cards immediately. Upsides of Slay are, well, you can't draw things dead because you play the Slay and then you play the horses later non-terminally. So you never have the sad draw of playing a Black Cat, drawing another terminally you can't play. And then maybe there's scenarios where I want to use the put the thing into your hand effect. Like if I played a Wayfarer and gained a silver, I could put the silver in my hand, or I could scrap something, gain a horse, put the horse in my hand. I think there's often just a lot of context where having a Slay in the deck allows you to make situationally helpful plays. So I'm leaning towards Slay. I think Black Cat could have been reasonable there as well. Okie dokie. I've hit 7. This could be a Hunting Lodge on one of the 2s. Could be getting the stockpiles back and then buying a Wayfarer, or stockpile Snowy Village, or second scrap even. I think I like Stockpile Wayfarer the most. Stockpile exiles itself whenever you play it, and the way to get a card off of exile is to gain a new copy of it. So I've got to buy a new stockpile to get that stockpile back. Now I got 2 of them again. At some point the stockpiles run out, and then under normal circumstances, that just means they're gone for good. And there's no tricky ways to get stockpiles back from the grave here. What am I doing with this one? Definitely need action because I want to play the Wayfarer. Just card action. If I draw the Slay, I could delay it. That'll be a little bit sad. If I need the plus buy, but not the end of the world. I could also just use the Slay to top deck something next turn, which might be better. Yeah, I think I just want to draw as much as I can. And I did not draw anything dead. How lovely. Don't think I need to take the stockpiles back right away. I've still got one left down there. Maybe Hunting Lodge and a Snowy Village now. Wouldn't mind a second scrap either. Alright, this turn is probably going to be stockpiles back and then another Wayfarer. Ah, look at this. I get to use Hunting Lodge's draw. So, like from a normal starting hand, you play Hunting Lodge, you pitch your hand, you draw 5 new cards. You haven't increased or decreased your hand size. It's just like a little guide effect that gives you a new hand. But if I do something like this, my hand's smaller now. Now I play this, and then I'll draw later on in the turn with that horse that I just gained. And we are getting places. Oh no, where's my Snowy Village? I don't really need to find it all that badly. I was just kind of hoping to have the additional buy. I could gain a silver and put it in my hand. I think I value the horses a lot more than that. Stockpiles, please. And what else? Hunting Lodge, livery, Black Cat. 2 Hunting Lodges and a Black Cat. I don't know. I definitely want at least one of these fellas. I think I want a Black Cat more than I want a second Slay. I guess that could have also been like Wayfarer plus scrap or something. And yeah, I have a full Snowy Village that I didn't even play. So I think I have enough villages to support a livery. As I say that, I'm looking at this hand. This is not the ideal time to be playing a Snowy Village. Delay is going to make this turn a lot less sad than it could be. I obviously can't play all my actions because I'm going to be capped at 4, even if I do manage to draw into the horses, but I could just delay them for future turns, and I'll be okay. Still don't think I love the idea of having silver in my deck all that much. This was an awkward turn to have a bit of a dud. I would have liked to draw my stockpiles and then unexile them again. Now I'm faced with the choice of I could just not unexile any of the stockpiles and then plan to get them back next turn. But then, maybe the bot buys both of the remaining 2 stockpiles and those are stuck forever. If I buy 1 stockpile, I can rescue them, but then it makes it even more likely that the bot ends up taking all the stockpiles because it will almost surely buy the last one. I could take 2 stockpiles now, so that then the bot is denied from stockpiles. The downside of that is I kind of want to delay both of these cards. I'm not getting too much value out of double stockpile and double delay. Maybe 2 stockpiles, a livery, and 1 delay. What else would I be doing? Livery, Hunting Lodge, 2 delays, and no stockpiles back. The bot has 4 stockpiles. It's been going for him fairly aggressively, and I've only got 2 left. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take these. Mainly so that, if the bot plays a bunch of stockpiles here, they're stuck forever. Whereas if there were stockpiles in the pile, the bot would get one more crack at unexiling them and playing them all. Turns out the bot had a bit of a dud itself. Getting places. I could continue on with the turn by scrapping something to put a horse into hand with the sleigh. I don't want to scrap the livery, but I could, like, given that I can't get these stockpiles back, would it be worth it to scrap a stockpile, put a horse in hand and draw one? I think the answer is yes. I've got another livery down there and a snowy village, both of which sound phenomenal to find if I can. I probably want coins here. I'm about to have a shortage of plus buy once the stockpiles are gone, but for the moment I think I have plenty of buys. I'm going to take buys anyway. Maybe I end up needing to delay something. I'm not sure. It's hard to say without counting it all out, and I can't be certain. Yeah. Those bottom two cards. This is fine. I'm just going to horse this. Here we see the usage of Way of the Horse. I was pretty annoyed that the two cards I wanted to find, the livery and the snowy village, were the bottom two cards of the deck. So at the cost of losing the black cat, I just played it non-terminally. Okay, now let me watch out for piles. There's 5 stockpiles on my exile mat. There's one in the trash. There's one on the bot's mat. So the bot has 3 stockpiles. That's at least 4 buys, potentially 5 with a scrap. So it has some amount of buys to work with. You gotta watch out for a Wayfarer. There's scenarios where, like, you buy a copper, buy a bunch of Wayfarers, pile those out for cheap. But I don't think we're super in danger of piling up quite yet. So the big problem I'm about to face is I have 2 total plus buy cards. Animal Fair has just become a plus buy card, so maybe I want a copy of that. I want some more villages. Village. 2 scraps, a copper, and a Wayfarer. That might be lowering Hunting Lodge and Wayfarer a little bit too much for my liking. The scraps aren't great, but they're just very cheap plus buy. Could do one more livery. Livery, copper, double Wayfarer. That's probably lowering that pile unnecessarily much. I have all the buys in the world right now. I'm just worried that next turn I'm going to have like 28 money again and like way too few buys to do anything useful. Maybe there's just 2 scraps. I don't have great scrap targets at the moment. Like, I could gain silvers and scrap them. I think I'm just going to do that. I don't think copper plus Wayfarer is better than nothing, although that's not entirely clear. How did the bot still have an estate? Something went wrong over there. Okay, that's all the bot stockpiles. You're gonna have to watch out for piles now. Do I have a pile out threat? My deck has 3 scraps, 1 snowy village, 1 animal fair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buys. I don't think I'm threatening to pile out here. Because I need to buy out 6 Wayfarers and also take a points lead. I know there are villages in my deck. There's one. I was getting a little bit dicey. Sure, let's gain a silver, put it in hand. I'll plan on scrapping that. Okay, so I've got a hunting lodge, which is, gets me to 5 actions, and Snowy Village gets me to 8. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total cards I want to play. That all checks out. I can probably end up delaying a horse or 2 here, maybe. Do maybe buy silver, gain a horse. Wayfarer, gain a silver, put it in hand. Buy silver horse. Top card is a horse. I think that's a fine place for it. Don't need to draw that. Wait a second. Oh, I have a 7th buy because Animal Fair is now at +2 buys. I missed that detail. Well, do I have a win then? Wayfarer costs 18, and I sure have more than 18. I have to buy a duchy to be safe because the bot has black cats. So if I did 6 Wayfarers and an estate, I could lose on getting cursed, and then that would be a losing tie because I'm player 1. 10, 7, yeah, I have way more than enough money. Okay, yeah, I wasn't exactly planning to win this turn, but if you insist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a second, did I do my math wrong? Maybe I should have counted that more closely. Yeah, I need more money than that. I said I didn't do the math in the first place. I kind of looked at that and was like, that looks like way more than I need. It was not way more than I needed, but that's okay. I can fix that. We're just gonna do buy coin silver, put the silver in hand. Now it's enough. Yeah, so the bot cursed me, but if I had just bought an estate there, I would have lost the game. Okay, I think this is a tricky kingdom. I think there's a stockpile can be kind of an annoying card because it just gives super huge amounts of plus buy, and then a lot of times what happens is like the game ends the turn that the stockpile's empty because that's an empty pile. Then you have a ton of cards that say plus buy, and then the pile out estates or something off of that. What often happens, I think, if you don't pile out immediately when the stockpile's empty, is the game just like drags to a halt all of a sudden because like all of your payload and plus buy went out the window, and then your deck just like kind of radically shifts in composition and you got to build back up. This game only lasted 1 more turn after that, but potentially could have dragged out longer. The bot do. I have to imagine the bot must have been having pretty poor shuffles. Like, this doesn't look like an unreasonable deck composition, aside from I think Wayfarer looks pretty decent early and the bot never clicked that. But I remember trashing estate very late in the game, which makes me think maybe it had like a hand or 2 where it bottom decked at scrap, or it lined up scrap with copper or something. Seems like something went wrong over there. Now, so it hit an estate turn 3, and it found its stockpile. All that checks out. And it bought a Wayfarer. It must have scrapped that at some point. Interesting. Found its second estate just fine, turn 5. Okay, I gotta be honest, I'm suddenly much less sure what went wrong over there with the bot. There it is, trashing into the last estate, not till turn 9. I'm not sure what happened here between turn 5 and turn 9. Okay, yeah, it had that bad dud turn 8. I remember that. I'm going to guess probably whatever this shuffle was bad enough to set the bot back. In a 10-turn game, 1 dud turn, plus the fact that you're player 2 and you have already at a 1-turn deficit, probably enough to explain why the bot ended up being behind here. I think I'm pretty happy overall with how I played it. Scrap stockpile Wayfarers early, add liveries later. I think the plus buy situation was tricky to navigate, but it seems like it all worked out okay.